In the vast expanse of the Milky Way, countless civilizations had risen and fallen, their stories etched into the cosmic tapestry. Yet, for millennia, one constant remained: the Galactic Confederation, a union of species that had weathered the tests of time and space. This ancient institution, neither wholly benevolent nor malevolent, served as a bulwark against chaos, its very existence a testament to the power of cooperation. As humanity took its first tentative steps beyond the Sol system, whispers of this grand alliance reached Earth. Curiosity, that quintessentially human trait, drove explorers ever outward, until at last, in the year 2184, the unthinkable occurred. A human scout ship, the HSS Magellan, made first contact with a Confederation patrol near the edges of human-controlled space. The news spread like wildfire across Earth and its colonies. Humanity, long alone in its corner of the galaxy, was alone no more. As diplomatic channels opened and information flowed, the true scope of the Galactic Confederation became clear. Thousands of species, each with its own rich history and unique traits, all united under a common banner of mutual advancement and protection. Captain Elena Rodriguez, commander of the Magellan, found herself thrust into the role of humanity's first ambassador to this cosmic community. As she stood before the Confederation's Grand Council, her heart raced with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. The chamber, a massive amphitheater carved from what appeared to be a single gargantuan crystal, housed representatives from more races than Elena could count. "Welcome, children of Earth," intoned the council speaker, a being of shimmering energy contained within an ornate metallic shell. "Your arrival has long been foretold in the annals of our seers. We are pleased to see that the predictions of your species' potential were not exaggerated." Elena bowed deeply, her voice steady as she replied, "On behalf of humanity, I thank you for this warm welcome. We come in peace and with an earnest desire to learn and contribute to this grand alliance." As the formalities concluded, Elena was approached by a wizened creature that resembled nothing so much as a sentient tree. "I am Arboros," it said, its voice a rustling of leaves. "There is much you must learn about our ways, young one. But first, let me tell you of one of our most cherished traditions." Arboros explained that when a new species joined the Confederation, they were asked to choose an epithet, a defining characteristic that would serve as their introduction to the galactic community. This name, he stressed, was more than mere words. It was a promise, a declaration of a species' core values and aspirations. The soaring vrek. Arboros gestured to a group of avian beings, their iridescent feathers catching the light, chose those who touched the stars as their epithet. The silicon-based quartz collective, he nodded towards a cluster of crystalline entities, are known as those who endure. Each name reflects not just what a species is, but what they strive to become. Elena listened, fascinated. "And how is this choice made?" she asked. Arboros's branches swayed in what Elena interpreted as a shrug. "That, my dear, is entirely up to your people. Some species debate for years, others know instantly. But choose wisely, for this name will echo through the ages, shaping how the galaxy perceives humanity for eons to come." As Elena prepared to return to Earth with this momentous news, she couldn't help but wonder. What single trait could possibly encompass the complexity, the contradictions, the sheer diversity of human experience? What name would humanity choose to carry into the stars? The journey back to Earth was filled with anticipation and speculation. Elena spent hours in her quarters, poring over the historical records the Confederation had shared. She learned of the Merkai, aquatic beings who had chosen "those who flow" as their epithet, embracing adaptability as their core strength. The warmongering Kreks, much to the surprise of their neighbors, had selected "those who protect," signaling a dramatic shift in their cultural priorities. Upon her return, Elena found Earth in a frenzy of excitement and debate. The news of the Galactic Confederation and the tradition of the epithet had ignited the imagination of billions. Every news channel, social media platform, and public forum was alight with discussions and polls. Some argued for those who innovate, citing humanity's relentless drive for technological advancement. Others pushed for those who question, emphasizing the human penchant for scientific inquiry and philosophical pondering. Those who feel, those who dream, those who persist, the suggestions were as varied as humanity itself. Global leaders convened in an unprecedented summit to address the issue. Representatives from every nation, every major cultural group, and every field of human endeavor gathered to debate humanity's defining characteristic. The discussions were heated, passionate, and often deeply personal. Dr. Aisha, a renowned anthropologist, argued passionately for those who adapt. Look at our history, she implored. From the savannas of Africa to the depths of space, humanity has always found a way to survive and thrive in the most challenging environments. Tech mogul Zhang Wei countered with a proposal for those who create. He showcased humanity's artistic and technological achievements, from the cave paintings of Lascaux to the terraforming of Mars. Our ability to shape our world, to bring imagination into reality, is what truly sets us apart, he asserted. As the debates raged on, a curious phenomenon began to occur. People from all walks of life started sharing their personal stories, tales of triumph over adversity, of bonds forged in the face of impossible odds, of small kindnesses that had changed lives. These stories, spanning cultures and continents, began to reveal a common thread, a uniquely human quality that had driven our species from its earliest days to the cusp of galactic citizenship. It was Elena Rodriguez who finally gave voice to this emerging consensus. Standing before the Global Assembly, she spoke not as a captain or an ambassador, but as a human being among equals. "We've spent weeks debating our greatest strength," she began, her voice calm but filled with conviction. "We've listed our achievements, catalogued our potential, but I believe our true strength lies not in any single quality, but in our capacity to embody them all. We are adaptable and creative, questioning and feeling, dreaming and persisting. But above all, we are a species that never stops moving forward." A hush fell over the assembly as Elena continued. From our earliest ancestors who ventured out of Africa to explore a vast, unknown world, to the pioneers who first set foot on Mars, humanity has always been defined by its willingness to take the next step, no matter how daunting. We are explorers, seekers, always pushing boundaries, not just of our physical world, but of knowledge, of art, of our very understanding of what it means to be alive. Her words resonated deeply, striking a chord with people across the globe. As the assembly erupted in discussion, a sense of unity began to emerge. Humanity, in all its diversity, was coming to a consensus. 3 months after Elena's return from the Confederation Council, Earth was ready to announce its decision. In a globally broadcast ceremony, United Earth President Zara Chen stood before a sea of faces, human and alien alike, to declare humanity's chosen epithet. To the Galactic Confederation, and to all sentient beings across the cosmos, we, the people of Earth, have chosen our name, President Chen announced, her voice clear and strong. From this day forward, let humanity be known as those who stride. The choice sent ripples through the galactic community. It was not a boast of superiority, nor a claim to any particular skill. Instead, it spoke to a fundamental aspect of the human spirit, the drive to move forward, to progress, to face the unknown with determination and hope. As news of the choice spread, reactions among the Confederation species varied. Some, like the methodical Quartz Collective, found the name puzzlingly vague. Others, such as the adventure-loving Soaring Vrek, responded with enthusiasm, seeing in humanity a kindred spirit of exploration. But for humanity, the name felt right. It encompassed their history of migration and exploration, their relentless pursuit of knowledge, and their ability to keep moving forward in the face of adversity. It was a promise to themselves and to the galaxy. A promise to never stop striving, never stop growing, never stop taking that next step into the unknown. As the ceremony concluded and humanity prepared to take its place among the stars, Elena Rodriguez stood at the viewport of the HSS Magellan, gazing out at the glittering expanse of the Milky Way. The journey that had begun with a chance encounter at the edge of human space had led to this moment, the dawn of a new era for her species. She thought of all the challenges that lay ahead, all the wonders waiting to be discovered, and she smiled, knowing that whatever the cosmos might hold, humanity would face it as they always had, with one foot in front of the other, striding boldly into the future. As humanity took its first steps into the galactic community, the weight of their chosen epithet, those who stride, began to make itself felt. The name was more than a mere label. It was a declaration of intent, a promise to the stars themselves. Yet, as with all great choices, it came with its share of challenges and expectations. In the months following Earth's formal induction into the Galactic Confederation, a flurry of activity swept across human space. Embassies were established, trade routes negotiated, and cultural exchanges initiated. The Stride Initiative, as it came to be known, saw humans venturing out to Confederation worlds with an eagerness that both impressed and bewildered their new alien counterparts. On the Confederation capital world of Nexus Prime, a sprawling ecumenopolis that served as the beating heart of galactic politics, human ambassador Kenji Tanaka found himself navigating a labyrinth of alien customs and expectations. The towering spires of the city, each housing representatives from dozens of species, seemed to stretch endlessly into the purple-hued sky. Ambassador Tanaka, chirped Zilks, an avian liaison from the species known as the Feathered Sages, your people's enthusiasm is most invigorating, but perhaps a bit overwhelming for some of our more reserved members. Kenji smiled diplomatically, his eyes twinkling with a mixture of amusement and determination. Change often is, my friend, but isn't that the very essence of striding forward? As they walked through the grand concourse, a massive promenade lined with holographic displays showcasing the achievements of various Confederation species, Kenji couldn't help but notice the conspicuous absence of human accomplishments. Their section, newly allocated, stood empty, a blank canvas waiting to be filled. It will take time, Zilks offered, noticing Kenji's gaze. Many species spend centuries crafting their legacy within the Confederation. Kenji nodded, but there was a glint in his eye. Time is a luxury, Zilks, and we humans have a habit of making the most of every moment. Back on Earth, the reverberations of their cosmic debut were being felt in every corner of society. Schools began incorporating xenobiology and galactic history into their curricula. Artists and writers found themselves inspired by the influx of alien cultures, creating works that blended human perspectives with extraterrestrial concepts. In the bustling metropolis of New Shanghai, Dr. Yuki Nakamura, a leading xenolinguist, worked tirelessly to develop translation matrices for the myriad languages of the Confederation. Her lab at the Global Institute of Cosmic Communication was a cacophony of alien sounds and holographic syntax trees. It's not just about words, she explained to a group of eager interns. It's about understanding thought processes fundamentally different from our own. Each language is a window into a unique way of perceiving the universe. As she spoke, her hands danced across a holographic interface, manipulating complex algorithms that attempted to bridge the gap between human cognition and the crystalline thought patterns of the silicon-based quartz collective. We chose to be those who stride, Yuki continued, her eyes alight with passion. But to truly stride forward, we must first understand the ground we're walking on. And in this case, that ground is the collective knowledge and wisdom of thousands of civilizations. Meanwhile, on the Mars colony of Olympus, engineer Malik Adenuga stood before a gathering of human and alien scientists. The dome of the conference center offered a breathtaking view of the rust-red Martian landscape, a testament to humanity's first steps beyond Earth. Ladies, gentlemen, and honored beings of all designations, Malik began, his voice steady with barely contained excitement. Today, we propose a project that embodies the very essence of what it means to be those who stride. With a gesture, he brought up a holographic display of the solar system. Project Starbridge, he announced. A network of wormhole generators that will revolutionize travel within our solar system and eventually beyond. The audience buzzed with a mixture of excitement and skepticism. An elder of the Maokai, his translucent skin shimmering with bioluminescent patterns, raised a webbed hand. Your ambition is admirable, young one, but such technology is centuries beyond your current capabilities. Malik's smile never wavered. With all due respect, Elder, that's precisely why we must begin now. Every great journey begins with a single step. This is ours. As the presentation continued, detailing the theoretical frameworks and proposed milestones of Project Starbridge, a palpable sense of possibility filled the room. It was audacious, perhaps even foolhardy, but it captured the imagination of humans and aliens alike. Back on Nexus Prime, Ambassador Tanaka found himself in a heated debate with representatives from several elder races of the Confederation. The topic: humanity's request for access to restricted technological archives. You must understand our position, rumbled Gaxthor, a massive reptilian being from a species known for their cautious approach to advancement. These archives contain knowledge that has toppled civilizations. We cannot in good conscience grant access to a species so young. Kenji leaned forward, his posture respectful but unyielding. With respect, Counselor, it is precisely because we are young that we need this knowledge. Not to wield, but to understand. To know which paths to avoid as we forge our own. A murmur rippled through the chamber. It was an unconventional argument, one that played on the very fears the elder races held about humanity's potential for reckless advancement. You speak of striding, interjected Arboros, the ancient tree-like being who had first explained the tradition of epithets to humanity. But wisdom often lies in knowing when to stay still, to observe and learn. Kenji nodded, acknowledging the point. True wisdom, I believe, lies in balancing movement and stillness. We do not ask for unrestricted access, but for guidance. To stride forward responsibly, we must understand the landscape before us. The debate raged on, with opinions divided. Some saw in humanity a reflection of their own species' youthful ambition, while others feared the potential consequences of accelerated advancement. As the Galactic day drew to a close, Kenji found himself standing on an observation deck, gazing out at the swirling colors of a nearby nebula. The vastness of space, once a distant dream for humanity, now stretched out before him, filled with both promise and peril. A soft chime indicated the arrival of another being. Turning, Kenji saw Zilx approaching, the avian's feathers ruffled in what he had come to recognize as a sign of agitation. Quite a stir you've caused, Ambassador, Zilx said, coming to stand beside him. Kenji allowed himself a small smile. Change often does, my friend. Isn't that what you told me when we first met? Zilx clucked, a sound Kenji had learned was akin to a chuckle. Indeed, I'm beginning to think we underestimated just how much change your species would bring. They stood in companionable silence for a moment, watching the dance of cosmic energies in the distance. You know, Zilx finally said, there's an old saying among my people. The fledgling who leaves the nest too soon may fall, but the one who never leaves will never fly. Kenji turned, surprised by the sentiment. Zilx continued, I cannot speak for the council, but know that not all of us fear your stride. Some of us are eager to see where it leads. As the two diplomats continued their contemplation of the cosmos, back on Earth, in laboratories and classrooms, in art studios and engineering bays, humanity continued to move forward. They were taking their first steps into a larger universe, guided by the promise they had made to themselves and to the stars. They were those who stride, and with each passing moment, they were living up to that name, for better or for worse. The galaxy watched, waited, and wondered what these newcomers would bring to the cosmic stage. And humanity, true to its nature, kept moving forward, one step at a time, into the vast unknown. As humanity's presence in the Galactic Confederation grew, so did the whispers of doubt and concern among the elder races. The humans' rapid advancements and insatiable curiosity were beginning to ruffle feathers, both literally and figuratively, across the cosmic community. Their chosen epithet, those who stride, was increasingly seen not as a promise of progress, but as a potential threat to the delicate balance of power that had held the Confederation together for millennia. It was in this atmosphere of growing tension that the Quorum of Elders, the highest governing body of the Confederation, convened an emergency session. Representatives from every member species gathered in the vast Chamber of Echoes, a colossal amphitheater carved from the living crystal of an ancient asteroid. High Counselor Zixvara, a being of pure energy encased in an ornate exosuit, called the session to order. Her voice, amplified by the chamber's unique acoustics, resonated with gravitas and concern. "Esteemed colleagues," she began, "we face a dilemma unprecedented in our long history. The species known as humanity has, in a mere decade, achieved technological advancements that took many of us centuries. Their stride, as they call it, threatens to outpace our ability to guide and contain it." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the assembly. Gaxthor, the cautious reptilian, rose to speak. "We have seen this before," he growled, his scales shimmering with agitation. "Young races, burning bright and fast, only to implode or worse, drag others down with them. We cannot allow this to continue unchecked." But not all were in agreement. Alberos, his branches swaying gently, offered a different perspective. "Let us not forget our own histories," he rustled. "Many of us were once viewed with similar trepidation. Perhaps what we fear is not humanity's potential for destruction, but their potential to change us." The debate raged for days, with factions forming and reforming as arguments were made and countered. Some called for humanity's expulsion from the Confederation, while others advocated for stricter controls on their access to advanced technologies. As the quorum deliberated, news of the session leaked to the human diplomatic corps. On Earth, emergency meetings were held to address the growing crisis. In the United Earth Council chamber in Geneva, holographic projections of leaders from every corner of human space gathered to discuss their response. President Zara Chen, her face etched with concern, addressed the assembly. "We stand at a crossroads," she said, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "Our stride has taken us far, but now we must prove that we can stride responsibly, with wisdom as well as ambition." Admiral Javier Cruz, commander of Earth's nascent space fleet, leaned forward, his holographic form flickering slightly. "Madam President, with all due respect, we cannot allow the Confederation to dictate the pace of our advancement. We have a right to protect ourselves to grow." Dr. Yuki Nakamura, now Earth's foremost expert on alien cultures, interjected. "But at what cost, Admiral? Our epithet is not a battle cry, it's a promise, to ourselves and to the galaxy. We must find a way to demonstrate that our stride can be in harmony with the Confederation, not in opposition to it." As the Council debated, a message arrived from Nexus Prime. The quorum had reached a decision. Humanity would face a test, a challenge to prove the true nature of their stride. Back in the Chamber of Echoes, Ambassador Kenji Tanaka stood before the assembled representatives of 1,000 worlds. His posture was straight, his gaze steady, but those who knew him well could see the tension in the set of his shoulders. High Counselor Zixvara's voice rang out, delivering the quorum's verdict. "Humanity, you who call yourselves those who stride, hear now the challenge set before you. You will be given a task, one that will test not just your technological prowess, but your wisdom, your compassion, and your ability to work in harmony with the greater galactic community." She paused, the silence in the chamber almost palpable. "There is a world on the fringes of Confederation space, Novaterra. Once a thriving colony, it now lies abandoned, its ecosystem ravaged by a cataclysm of our own making. Your challenge is this: restore Novaterra, make it bloom again. But beware, the solutions that seem easiest may not be the wisest. You have 5 standard years. Show us the true meaning of your stride." The implications of the challenge were immense. Success could cement humanity's place in the Confederation and prove the value of their rapid advancement. Failure could lead to isolation, mistrust, or worse. As the news spread across human space, reactions were mixed. Some saw it as an opportunity to showcase humanity's ingenuity and determination. Others viewed it as a thinly veiled attempt to divert human resources and attention away from further advancements. On Mars, Malik Adenuga received the news with a mix of excitement and trepidation. Project Starbridge was put on hold, its resources diverted to the Nova Terra initiative. "We're engineers, problem solvers," he told his team. "This is what we do. Let's show the galaxy what it truly means to stride forward." Dr. Nakamura and her team of xenolinguists and cultural experts began poring over Confederation archives, seeking insights into Nova Terra's history and the nature of its downfall. "Understanding is the first step," she reminded her colleagues. "We're not just fixing a planet, we're healing a wound in the Confederation's history." As preparations for the Nova Terra mission began in earnest, humanity found itself united in purpose as never before. The challenge had struck a chord, resonating with the deep-seated human drive to explore, to fix, to improve. Admiral Cruz, initially skeptical of the challenge, found himself drawn into the planning. "If we're going to do this," he declared, "we're going to do it right. This isn't just about saving a planet. It's about showing the galaxy who we really are." As the first ships prepared to depart for Nova Terra, carrying scientists, engineers, and diplomats from every corner of human space, a sense of anticipation swept through the Confederation. Elder races watched with a mixture of curiosity and concern, wondering what these unpredictable humans would do. On the eve of the mission's launch, President Chen addressed not just humanity, but the entire Confederation. Her words were broadcast across countless worlds, translated into thousands of languages. "We did not choose our epithet lightly," she said, her voice calm but filled with conviction. "To stride is not merely to move forward, but to do so with purpose, with care for the path we tread and those who walk beside us. Nova Terra is not just a test, it is an opportunity to learn to grow, and to show that humanity's stride can be a force for healing and renewal." As the ships lifted off, carrying the hopes and dreams of humanity with them, the galaxy held its breath. The challenge of Nova Terra loomed ahead, a crucible that would test not just humanity's technological prowess, but the very essence of what it meant to be those who stride. The journey to Nova Terra would take months, even with the most advanced propulsion systems. As the fleet traveled through the star-studded void, the team on board used every moment to prepare, to plan, and to ponder the monumental task ahead. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the same captain who had made first contact with the Confederation years ago, now led the scientific contingent of the mission. As she gazed out at the passing stars from the observation deck of the flagship HFY, she couldn't help but feel the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. "We're not just restoring a planet," she murmured to herself. "We're charting the course of our species' future in the cosmos." As Nova Terra grew from a distant point of light to a looming sphere, humanity steeled itself for the challenge ahead. There were those who stride, and now they would show the galaxy what that truly meant. As the human fleet approached Nova Terra, the true scope of the challenge became apparent. The once vibrant world hung in space like a tarnished jewel, its atmosphere a sickly haze, its oceans murky and lifeless. Scans revealed a planet in the throes of ecological collapse, its delicate balance shattered by the cataclysm that had forced its abandonment. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the HFY, her face grim as she studied the readouts. "It's worse than we thought," she said, addressing the assembled team leaders. "The damage isn't just superficial. It's systemic, right down to the planetary core." Malik Adenuga, now chief engineer of the restoration project, nodded sullenly. "We expected challenges, but this is going to test everything we've got." As the ships entered orbit, the team began their work in earnest. The first order of business was to establish a base of operations on the surface. As shuttles descended through the toxic atmosphere, the reality of their task hit home. The landscape that greeted them was a far cry from the lush world described in Confederation archives. Barren plains stretched as far as the eye could see, broken only by the twisted remnants of alien structures. The air, barely breathable even with filters, carried the acrid scent of decay. It was a stark reminder of the power of unchecked technological advancement, a warning that humanity's stride, if not carefully managed, could lead to similar devastation. In the weeks that followed, the human team worked tirelessly to understand the intricacies of Novaterra's ecology. Dr. Yuki Nakamura, leading a team of xenobiologists and environmental engineers, pored over data collected from every corner of the planet. "It's not just about cleaning up the mess," she explained during a briefing. "We need to understand the underlying systems, the intricate web of life that once thrived here. Only then can we hope to truly restore balance." As they delved deeper into Novaterra's history, a disturbing pattern began to emerge. The cataclysm that had rendered the planet uninhabitable wasn't a single event, but the culmination of centuries of mismanagement and short-sighted exploitation. "They thought they were striding forward," Kenji Tanaka mused, his holographic form flickering in the command center. "But they were walking blindly towards the edge of a cliff." The parallels to humanity's own history were not lost on the team. Earth had faced its own ecological crisis, teetering on the brink of disaster before pulling back. The lessons learned during those dark times now proved invaluable as they tackled Novaterra's restoration. Months turned into years as the project progressed. The challenges were immense, often seeming insurmountable. Traditional terraforming techniques proved ineffective against Novaterra's unique conditions. More than once, the team was forced to scrap entire strategies and start anew. But with each setback came new insights, new approaches. Humanity's stride, once seen as reckless by the Confederation, began to reveal its true nature. It wasn't about moving forward at all costs, but about adapting, learning, and persevering in the face of adversity. Midway through the fourth year, a breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. Rodriguez, working late one night, noticed an anomaly in the data from a particularly resilient strain of native microorganisms. These tiny life forms, barely clinging to existence in the planet's most inhospitable regions, held the key to jump-starting Novaterra's regeneration. "It's not about imposing our will on the planet," she realized. "It's about working with what's already here, nurturing the spark of life that never truly died." This revelation sparked a fundamental shift in the restoration approach. Instead of trying to force the planet back to its former state, the team began to work in harmony with Novaterra's surviving ecosystems, amplifying and supporting the world's own healing processes. As news of this new strategy spread, interest from the Confederation grew. Species that had been watching from afar began to offer assistance, sharing insights from their own experiences with planetary restoration. What had begun as a test for humanity was evolving into a collaborative effort that crossed the boundaries of species and star systems. In the final months of the project, the changes on Novaterra became increasingly apparent. Patches of green began to appear on the once barren surface. The atmosphere, while still far from pristine, showed marked improvement. In sheltered valleys, the first tentative calls of returning native fauna could be heard. As the 5-year deadline approached, a palpable sense of anticipation filled not just the human team, but the entire Confederation. The quorum of elders prepared to render their judgment, while billions of beings across the galaxy waited to see what those whose stride had achieved. On the eve of the deadline, Dr. Rodriguez stood atop a hill overlooking the primary restoration site. The setting sun painted the sky in hues of purple and gold, a sight unseen on Novaterra for generations. Beside her stood Ouroboros, the ancient tree-like being who had first explained the tradition of epithets to humanity. "When you first arrived, Ouroboros rustled, his leaves swaying gently in the evening breeze. I feared your stride would be too forceful, too blind to the delicate balance of things. I see now that I was mistaken." Elena smiled, her eyes never leaving the horizon. "We've learned so much here," she said softly. "About Nova Terra, about the Confederation, about ourselves. Our stride isn't just about moving forward. It's about understanding the ground beneath our feet and lifting others as we rise." As night fell, bringing with it a sky full of stars, humanity waited for the quorum's verdict. But regardless of the official judgment, they had already gained something invaluable. They had proven, to themselves and to the galaxy, what it truly meant to be those who stride. In their journey to restore Nova Terra, humanity had not just rehabilitated a planet. They had forged new bonds, bridged ancient divides, and taken a crucial step towards their place among the stars. As the first light of a new day broke over Nova Terra's rejuvenated landscape, it heralded not just the rebirth of a world, but the dawn of a new era for humanity and the Confederation alike. The true revelation of Nova Terra was not found in the technological marvels employed or the scientific breakthroughs achieved. It was in the recognition that true progress, true striding, comes not from dominating nature or outpacing others, but from working in harmony with the complex systems that surround us, both ecological and social. As the quorum prepared to deliver its verdict, humanity stood ready to face whatever came next. They had stridden forward, not alone, but hand in hand with the myriad species of the Confederation, and in doing so, they had taken their first true steps into the cosmic community.